What's going on? Just a little Pickett checking in here for Team Neopolitan, the third place winners. And I'm here just to break down our process and how I went about making this coffee and how the final design was formed and the satisfaction you guys were all pleased with. Slide 2, here's our flow chart. I know there's a lot going on, a lot of lines, a lot of things happening, but I'm going to try to do my best to walk you through it step by step. So first, my group, we decided to take the long route, which is going with the roaster. We want to do a fresh beans, a kind of fresh batch with 96.5 grams of green coffee beans and place them in the roaster. So after the first crack and after waiting an excess time for them to cool down, we were able to get 85.9 grams of roasted coffee beans, which we then put in the grinder. And anything that you see in the red here is calculated energy lost throughout this process of each step, right? So from the grinder and letting it do its thing and becoming all fine and nice, we were able to then get 80 grams of roasted coffee grounds, which we put in the AeroPresser here. Then up top, we had 94 grams of cold water. Must be cold. Don't forget, it must be cold. Sitting and heating up while we were doing the process on the left. And once that water hit 94 degrees, we were able to pour it on top of the coffee, let it sit for around 5 minutes-ish, 6 minutes-ish, and press it down. And over a span of doing that 8 times, we were able to get 926.5 grams of coffee while accessing 253.5 grams of energy over time. And I know, like I said, there's a lot going on here, but we felt like this process and this method was simple and easy enough for us to do. And it made, I feel like, the process really quick. Slide 3, here's just our mass balances of everything that we calculated and how much we used of each. So water-wise, it was 1,552 grams of water. Next, we used 96.5 grams of Rwanda beans. And then from there, putting it in the roaster, we were able to get 85.9 grams of that. And then putting it in the grinder, at level 20, we were able to get 80 grams of grinded coffee. And then from there, in the AeroPress, we used 10 grams of coffee and 137 grams of water for a total yield of 926.5 grams of brewed coffee. Rwanda was honestly our favorite here. We were a big fan of Rwanda the whole time throughout this class. And it honestly tastes really well. The longer we kept making it, the more we kept doing it. During the roasting process for this assignment, we did 7-minute roasting cycle at the speeds of 999 with 3-minute cooling at the same speed of 999. Since your eval and blind taste score, we really wanted to aim for a thin and sweet taste. Not so much tea-like or bitter or sour or really watered down, but we were looking for like that in-between of those spaces. And we feel like the Rwanda coffee bean was that for us all quarter. And in the midst of us, making that, we really got just the right balance of sourness and bitterness that we were aiming for. And the smell of the coffee was very fruity, very appealing and attracting. And the taste was not too strong. And it was watery, but that was what we were looking for. But it wasn't so watery to where you were going to spit it out and be like, this is terrible. Like I said, it was right in the middle of what we were looking for. And we wanted our coffee to be tea-like, and it came out like that. Our blind taste score as well was 18.83, which came out to 3rd place in the class. So shout out our peers. We wish we would have got number 1. I feel like if we run it back one more time, we make the same coffee, our classmates would give us number 1 for real. But we'll take it. Our energy usage for this project came out to 0.15 kilowatts for heating water, and that was us using 1,552 grams of water and heating that to 94 degrees Celsius to ensure a full flavor. Roasting-wise, it came out to 0.18 kilowatts, in which we roasted for 7 minutes on a level of 999, and that produced us a really medium roast, which we found consistent throughout this class and doing this multiple times. In the hypothetical future, we would like to aim for number 1. That's the goal of all this for sure. We would like to try adding a different flavor profile and body by changing the grind size and adding another type of roast of beans. Adding maybe a secondary flavor in that process and concentrating on the existing flavor is another thing we talked about. But from our overall project, we felt the tea could have been less watery. I think it was on the spectrum of being a little too watery. So we could have used different grind size and brew ratio that could have helped those things. We also could have improved our energy efficient by heating our water up to a lesser temperature than 94, but not to the points where we want to lose any of the flavor that we had. We also could get a larger AeroPress so that we didn't have to use 8 of them. We did see a lot of our classmates, which I'm sure they gave us a little side eye here and there, but we appreciate their help for this project. Just so we can brew our coffee much faster and obviously not use so many tools. Here you see our energy scoring sheet as well. It kind of looks like we drank off the paper, but as you can see, hard work went into this project for us. On this, you can see that our method was AeroPress, like I mentioned, and our TDS came out to 1.26 with our P being 13.6%. Like I said, I went over these numbers already throughout this slide, but shout out to Neopolitans. And to conclude this amazing project, as I mentioned, the TDS of the final brew came out to 1.26%, with the P of the final brew being 13.6%. I want to thank everyone in this class for this quarter. It's been a fun quarter. I want to shout out my group members, man, Cohen and Beverly. I want to shout out those guys because without them, this would have been an impossible class. So I'm thankful for the lessons of coffee, and I'll be trying more in the future, hopefully. And yeah, I appreciate it all. We all appreciate it. Thank you.